It's 9:33, and we're going to call this meeting to order. And may I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Baxter,
Here.
Commissioner Flores,
Present.
Commissioner Powell, Mayor Marino,
Here.
Commissioner Sachs, Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I've asked Commissioner Woodward to lead us in the prayer and the pledge.
May we approach today's business as task of faith, to do our best within our power to provide positive leadership on behalf of our community and those who live and work here, and that our decisions meet the standards of divine compassion for all. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and let the record reflect that Commissioner Powell has joined us. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions to the agenda?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, no, we do not.
Thank you. May I get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And before we go, Greg, the regular agenda is very brief.
Okay.
So may I get a motion to receive and file for the regular agenda?
So moved.
I got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Did I do an all in favor for the agenda itself?
Could we have it restated?
Okay. So we need a first, we had a first and a second for the agenda itself. Can we have a yes vote on that? Yes. Okay. And now we had a first and a second to receive and file. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Weiss, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment of personal privilege here this morning. In Chambers, we have a resident of District 2, Larry Digert. And Larry lives in the Plantation neighborhood, and if you're not familiar where Plantation is, it's off of Okeechobee, just east of the Turnpike, and on the south side of Okeechobee. It's an area where OCR, Office of Community Revitalization, has designated as one of their neighborhoods. And if you're not familiar and haven't seen it, it's one of the few neighborhoods that allows for mobile homes to be put on lots. So that community has a large number of mobile homes. But Larry has been an advocate for many, many years, first working alongside Bill McDonald, but recently on his own, to ensure that that neighborhood is looked after. This past weekend, Larry ensured that they received turkeys, working alongside PBSO and OCR. They delivered, I believe, over 50 turkeys and boxes of vegetables to the residents there. He's just an all-around really great guy that looks after his neighborhood and takes a little extra time to make sure that his community is supported. So I just wanted to take a moment this morning and recognize Larry and ask him if he has any words to say to please come forward.
Thank you, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Commissioners. Been working with the neighborhood for a long time, fighting the town of Palm Beach for the dump site, so y'all have seen me before, but been here all my life, 62 years in Palm Beach County, born at Good Samaritan Hospital, and I plan on staying here. So I thank y'all very much for your support. OCR, Houston Tate and his crew, PBSO, and Deborah Morgan from Palm Beach Harvest has really worked really hard, especially this weekend. She went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 7 to 7, picking food up to take out to Belglade, Pahokee, and all, doing other communities that OCR is with. And she also brings the food to my neighborhood once or twice a month. So I just wanted to thank y'all very much, because getting, with street lights with OCR, y'all are the ones that we have to come to and get these things approved. So I just wanted to come here personally and thank y'all very much for making everything happen in my neighborhood and supporting us. And I'm just pleased to do what I do because I know I've got y'all's support. So I just wanted to thank you and have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. And please have some prayers out for our 3 last officers we just lost. I had 2 of the motorcycle police with me when I passed out on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we had lost the other ones. So we definitely got to support PBSO on these people that just are driving crazy in Palm Beach County, and I'm sure we'll get it taken care of. But PBSO and all of you, thank you very much, and you have a good one.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for your service. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. And with that, we will start the workshop portion of our agenda. Who's first? Nice to see all of you here this morning. This is an exciting part of our day. This is fun, yes. Make sure your mics are on and pull them towards you when you're talking, please.
Ready? Perfect. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. It's Samia Jala, Assistant County Administrator. With me today is Manuel Perry, Executive Director of the county's Tourist Development Council, Milton Segarra, President and CEO of Discover the Palm Beaches, George Linley, Executive Director of the Palm Beach County Sports Commission. From the county's Film and Television Commission, Field Commissioner Michelle Hillary, and Dave Lawrence, President and CEO of the Palm Beach County Cultural Council. The workshop item which we're about to present intends to deliver on 2 key aspects. First, provide this board an overview of the tourist development taxes, historical and projected collections, along with planned uses and projected expenditures. Second, it will serve to provide the board an overview of the marketing plans for the Cultural Council, Film and Television Commission, Sports Commission, and Discover of the Palm Beaches. Collectively, we refer to those agencies as the tourism agencies. On an annual basis, concurrently with the budget approval process, which is now past us for fiscal year 25, the tourism agencies prepare a marketing plan that is approved by their respective boards and the Tourist Development Council. Under the contracts each agency has with the county, an overview is to be provided to our Board of County Commissioners as to the scope and goals of said marketing efforts. With that very brief overview as a background, let me transition to Emmanuel, who will lead the presentation.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Baker. Again, I'm Emmanuel Perry, Executive Director of the Tourist Development Council, and I'm here to explain to you who we are, what we do, and some pretty cool accomplishments that we're looking to accomplish within the future. So the first question, who are we? So the Board of County Commissioners created the Tourist Development Council in 1981 to be an advisory board to the BCC on all things tourism. Also, to be the overseers and the stewards of the tourist development taxes, also known as bed taxes. Bed taxes are taxes in which are collected on any overnight stay up to 6 months in duration. That includes your hotels, also your Airbnb, and your non-hotels as well. Our state governance, our state statute 125.0104 sets the tone as to how we market all 39 cities and municipalities within the county. In 1982, the very first tourist development taxes was levied, and out of 67 counties within the state of Florida, we are 1 out of 11 which uses the maximum taxation of 6%. So with that, we're going to begin with our presentation. Our mission is to lead the promotion of tourism in Palm Beach County by empowering collaborative partnerships, as well as advocating for destination-defining developments and ensuring the steady growth in visitors. Our vision statement is to ensure that Palm Beach County will become a globally recognized destination that all visitors will want to come and experience because of our culture, our lifestyle, and our amenities. I'm going to introduce some of our partner agencies in which we contract out with through the county. First and foremost, being our oldest organization, the Cultural Council for the Palm Beach County. They are our oldest organization, and they are the original champion as to why the county has tourist development taxes. In 1978, the Cultural Council then began to champion Palm Beach County to then go out and seek to levy these tourist development taxes for the further growth and development of Palm Beach County, having that foresight and that futuristic mindset to say, hey, we can look to grow and develop and be able to become a destination that all visitors will want to come and experience because of our culture, our lifestyle, and our amenities. The Cultural Council represents over 55 cultural institutions within the county, as well as over 200 solo and emerging artists as well. Also including is Discover the Palm Beaches, which serves as the county's official destination marketing organization, also known as a DMO, ensuring that we reach our visitors not only at a national level, but at international level through our marketing efforts as well, using platforms such as Google, Metaverse, X, formerly known as Twitter. Those are some of the brief platforms that we use to market to ensure that we're gravitating those national audience as well. Palm Beach County Sports Commission serves as our champion for all things sports by attracting sports events through business interactions, having that mindset of not only attracting sports enthusiasts at a national level, but also at an international level, as we know that sports fanatics really drive home and really sits well within Palm Beach County. And last but certainly not least is our Palm Beach County Film Commission, which serves as a production hub for all things film and production within Palm Beach County. They operate as the county. They also operate the county's official Palm Beach the official tourism channel known as the Palm Beaches TV, which is content which is 100% filmed in Palm Beach County by local production companies here in Palm Beach County, and we utilize that to drive local business to our hubs or to our different events that we are actually putting on within the county. In addition to partnering with the Environment and Resource Management, also known as ERM, we do oversee four tourism-related infrastructures, that being Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches, Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium, the Convention Center, and also the Garage. So as I mentioned, some terrific things that we do as a collective whole, I wanted to paint a picture as to what tourism means to this county. So this slide illustrates what exactly tourism means to this county. We are a part of the big three industry, that being agriculture, construction, and tourism being one of those impactful industries to the county. 3 out of every 10 visitors that visited Palm Beach County attended a cultural and arts institution or program within the county, which is big because we're known as Florida's cultural capital, and that's something that we market and we sell and we try to drive home to our visitors and our residents as well. Over 195 sporting events took place here within the Palm Beach County in FY23. That is including professional as well as amateur sports, and that's something that we can hang our hat on as we look to grow that footprint for years to come, with certain events lining up such as FIFA as well as college football national championship. We'll look to bring different sporting events and try to capture those events and bring them here within the county as well. More than 500 film and television production companies filmed right here in Palm Beach County. Some of those mainstream people that we may know, some being the Serena Sisters, Gatorade commercials, Volkswagen commercials, those really hit home. So as we look to market our county, some of that footage that you see about our county is actually filmed right here. And last but certainly not least, last year, in 2023, we brought 9.5 million visitors to Palm Beach County. That resulted in an economic impact of $10.3 billion, resulting in supporting 96,000 jobs. And as a result of that, we had a record bed tax collections of $84 million. So this is what tourism means to this county. It is important. It is something that we should celebrate and champion from the mountaintops as we look to future endeavors and how we grow our county as well. So as I mentioned, as far as us hitting a record bed tax collections within FY 2023, I just wanted to paint a picture as to how those bed taxes are distributed. We have 6 pennies, as mentioned before. The first and fourth are solely dedicated to infrastructure. As we collect bed taxes from overnight stays, the county ordinance 2015-023 allows us to distribute our dollars accordingly. The first and fourth receives 33% of all bed tax collections, in which we use for renewal and replacement to support our 4 infrastructures, again, those being Cacti Park, Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium, the Palm Beach County Convention Center, as well as the garage. We also use the first and fourth pennies to pay our debt and bond services, so we can look to leverage any future debt to bring in different infrastructures to our county as well. Our next slide will illustrate just how important our debt service is and how much we owe within relationship to our debt. A key portion of our funding, which we use for distribution, also goes to the Department of Environment and Resource Management, in which the fabulous Deborah Jerem leverages those dollars to receive a dollar-for-dollar match with the state. Last year, we funded our public beaches in the dollar amount of $12 million. So she's able to take those dollars and go to the state and receive a dollar-for-dollar match to actually help protect our public beaches and keep them beautiful. The remaining portion we utilize amongst the 4 agencies to help market and promote all 39 cities and municipalities, bringing awareness to those areas and also driving business that may not be within that area during our current time frame. Our next slide illustrates just how much debt we are in. So as of the end of 2023 going to 2024, across all 4 infrastructures, we have about $241 million in debt, and it's broken out accordingly. The parking garage has $42 million remaining as far as the debt completion, which is set to complete in 2036. The convention center has $32.3 million, which is set to complete in 2031. Cacti Park, which is our newest ballpark stadium, which is home to the Nationals and the Astros, it opened in 2017, and that bond obligation is set to complete in 2046. Our recently renovated or under consideration for renovation, which will be Roger Dean Stadium, home of the Marlins and the Cardinals. Renovations have yet to start it, but those will look to actually be completed by 2043. And that kind of paints a picture as to the board as to what our current debt infrastructure looks like as we look to take on additional debt through the tourism master plan as to different endeavors that we could possibly see coming to this county. Our next slide illustrates as what our tourist development tax ecosystem looks like. As we look to invest in whether visitors or infrastructure, we want to make sure that it aligns within our ecosystem, right? It starts with the visitor. If we cannot get a visitor to come here, then it doesn't fall within our ecosystem. It starts with the visitor. Our visitor comes in, they spend dollars, they spend taxes, they visit our hotels, our beaches, our restaurants, and they drive that economic impact in which we love to bring to this county. And then our tax collector then collects those taxes and remits them to the Tourist Development Council, and we use those dollars to administer, first and foremost being to our debt and our first and fourth penny, supporting our infrastructure, and then following suit would then be our beach renourishment, and then last but certainly not least, our agencies. And then it kind of falls within that cycle as to if we're looking for any significant or major investment, we want to make sure it falls within this ecosystem. Our next couple of slides will just go over how we actually market the county. Some platforms that Discover the Palm Beaches utilizes to expose our county and our beautiful county are Metaverse, the Zimmerman Agency, which is the agency of record for Discover the Palm Beaches. We also partner with Visit Florida, and we also create signature events such as Eudaimonia. This is a wellness event that Discover created within this past October, which actually brings in a different event because travel is moving more towards health and wellness. So we created that event to kind of drive business in a slow period in which we actually needed it, and we're driving home and creating different ways so visitors can come. The Cultural Council uses platforms such as New York Times, Push Media, which is their agency of record. The Cultural Council also created a month in May called Mosaic, month of shows, arts, ideal, and culture. And that concept was formalized around, all right, so out of our peak season, how can we get visitors to come via the drive market as well as the air traffic during our shoulder season? So we have open studios. So we're inviting our cultural artists or our patrons to actually go out and experience what it's like to live and breathe and experience culture within Palm Beach County. Our Film and Television Commission helps tell the stories of our local businesses by hiring local production companies as well as partnering with South Florida PBS. They also, in addition to this, they also partner with Department of Housing and Economic Development to put on the Student Showcase of Films, which is the largest film festival for students in Florida. We also attract, from that component alone, we also attract visitors from California, Europe, as well as South America to be able to participate and be able to tell their story. We have some world-renowned film winners who have actually gone on and produced major companies or major videos within Palm Beach County as well. And it started right here with the Student Showcase of Films. And last but certainly not least is the Sports Commission. They're known for their business-to-business. Outside of the big three that we consider within our sports industry, which are equestrian, MLB, and the PGA Tour, we've coined that phrase as the ultimate week of sports. So during our peak season, you're able to go and experience an MLB game, a PGA Tour, and also equestrian, all within the same week. They're also known for partnering with local businesses and actually driving home traffic to partner and bring amateur events such as Battle Youth Championship, which serves as a tournament style to youth football. We invite over 100 teams to be able to play and participate. They go out to Wellington and they actually have a tournament style football game. So with all that rolled up in one, what does our future look like? We invited the commission to participate and have a conversation for our tourism master plan. To the new commissioners, we will be reaching out to you and getting in contact with you so we can have your input to help shape our future. But right now, so as the commissioners' our first priority is the development of the Convention Center District. As you know, we are in contract negotiations for a second headquarter hotel, and with that, we will look to then expand the footprint of the Convention Center. In the United States, we have the most convenient convention center from Palm Beach International Airport to Convention Center is within 4 to 5 miles. So we want to be able to leverage that and be able to attract a different audience and make sure that we're not losing out on meetings and conventions, businesses that we could kind of capitalize on. And with that, Mayor, we will be happy to take any questions.
I don't see any lights up. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I had a couple of different questions. If it's too many, we can take turns. But going back to the, I just missed the number. Was it 80? Did you say 84 million? In
$84 million in bed taxes for FY23. We just closed FY24, and it was another record of $87 million.
Very good. All right. Thank you. I just missed the number when you said it. One question on the debt plans on your slide number 5. Is this just our part of the debt? Because I know with the ball fields, the teams are also participating. So is this number just our responsible?
This is just the county's responsibility. It's
Okay.
not the ball clubs or the states. This is just
Okay.
ours.
Because I wasn't, that number seemed like lower than I thought. Okay. It's a good number for us. Don't raise it. And then with the parking garage and the convention center, that's all us.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the debt that's being paid on that just from bed tax, or is there another funding
It's just
source?
solely from bed taxes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, and then for Cultural Council, I happen to sit on this board with Mr. Lawrence. I was hoping, could you just let the fellow commissioners know, you mentioned Open Studios and Mosaic, but both of those are sort of county-wide initiatives. If you could just speak to both of those so that we know it's not just in the one little space.
Certainly. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. As Emmanuel mentioned, those programs were initially designed to serve our shoulder season audience. When season sort of winds down and we're trying to make sure that audiences are still here. So we focused this on the drive market. And Mosaic, which is a month of shows, art, ideas, and culture, is an opportunity to create packages for families. So it's a lot of 2-for-1 offers, hotel discount packages, those sort of things to encourage participation in our cultural venues during the slower months. That doesn't seem to be happening anymore, which is a great problem for all of us. In addition then to Mosaic, one of the things we did a couple of years ago was we wanted to tap an untapped market, and that was artists as tourist ambassadors. So we created the Open Studios program, which last year we expanded to a full weekend. Over 100 artists participated, and they opened their doors to their studios. We created a map all across Palm Beach County so that everyone could go sort of almost treasure hunt style to find artist studios, get to know the artists, buy works of art from them. And the anecdotal information that we received back from that was pretty astounding. The number of sales that day, commissions, there were people that took the Bright line up from Miami. There were folks that flew in specifically for Open Studios. And the response from the artists has been very strong as well. So this is something that we're going to continue. So part of our work that we're doing is trying to think of innovative ways to make sure that we're maximizing these precious resources to bring even more people to experience arts and culture here in Palm Beach County.
Thank you. And for Sports Commission, could you tell us, are there any trends for new opportunities, especially with league sports? Because I know that you managed to bring some large numbers in for, I think, a lacrosse tournament or some other sports that aren't necessarily the mainstream sports we think of.
Absolutely, Commissioner. Thank you for. Thank you for bringing that up. You're 100% right. While we have the cornerstone sports, the equestrian industry is the largest annual event that, from a room night generation and economic impact, that takes place annually in the county. Obviously, baseball is a cornerstone with Major League Baseball. What we really love is what happens when the MLB teams are not there, and that's we have in the fall and the summer months. This past year, we had 34 amateur baseball events, from USA Baseball to Prospect Select, Perfect Game, that are generating about 60,000 room nights. That's actually more room nights than the MLB spring training teams are generating. But we hosted 213 events in FY24, up from FY23, that represent 44 different types of sports. And 64%, and about 138 of those events are, which is one of our strategies in our marketing plan, occur during the county's off-season. And that's June, July, into August and September, and then October through pre-Christmas. So it's one of the beautiful products of sport travel. It's happening when the hospitality industry needs the business the most. And the leader in that is the youth sport marketplace. So it's certainly not just the equestrian, baseball, golf, or racket sports. I don't say tennis anymore because of the abundance of pickleball courts that we now have. But it's our, and I will say, this county we've been recognized, and actually Sports Business Journal has recognized Palm Beach County as a top 5 sport destination in hosting and attracting events. And the Sports Events and Tourism Association came out the same year. That's like our national association. They did a 2-year study in depth, and they looked just at the sports tourism economy, not the overall sports industry, not including NFL or Major League Baseball, or if they only looked at events that were movable. And they said that Florida leads the nation in terms of generating economic impact through sports. They suggested it's a $130 billion industry. No, those are, when you see economic impacts, they're only projections. It was about 40% up in the state year over year. But there's no doubt that our county is driving what's happening in the state of Florida. We're one of the top 5 large market sports. And certainly, just to wrap up, to give you a few examples of some of the events that we're hosting, there's a lot of non-traditional sports that you wouldn't think would be calling Palm Beach County home. We're hosting a USA Fencing Championship in the Convention Center this year. We have a brand new shooting sports park that the county owns. We just won a bid to host a USA shooting competition by the Olympic governing body this January. We just hosted this past weekend a World Wake Association World Championship at Okeechobee Park. There's a cable wakeboard facility and lakes, water ski lakes, and so that's be a tremendous impact. And I could go on, but that is the beauty of this county. It's really the diversity of venues that live here and the versatility of those venues. And we'll do our best to turn over every stone that we can. And if we could host an event there, we'll try to recruit an event, bid on an event, bring an event to utilize that facility, ultimately so we could create tourism. And finally, we talk a lot about tourism, but one of the biggest benefits about some of these national and international events that we have is we will bring competition to our local communities, to our local leagues and our local youth sport components here. So if we're hosting an international event and we have athletes from Colombia to Italy that's come down, which this past year we tracked over 40 different nations, we're giving a chance for our local youth to be able to interact and compete against them. Same thing when we're hosting a national event, if they're coming from Kansas or New York or California, these teams are now playing against our local teams. It's not just teams from outside the area. And that's one of the things that I get excited about in having 2 kids, is because if we're not hosting these events, many of these teams, there's travel sports is popular, but they're not. They're able to play against teams from a different region, meeting new people, creating new experiences, and it does benefit our local community significantly when we're hosting a tourism event.
Thank you. And if I could, for the Film Commission, are we working at all with, there's like influencers or these independent media types that they kind of make their own videos, but they look for very nice backgrounds, or, the experience is, the video that they're creating and the location being a part of it. Do we have much of an effort in that area?
Yes, thank you for the question. Absolutely. Part of what we do as the Film and Television Commission is help identify and secure locations for commercial production to take place. And so not only are we a marketing agency that markets Palm Beach County as an ideal destination from the diversity of locations that we have to offer, we also service those productions by finding the ideal locations, locking those locations down. We work with the 39 municipalities that make up Palm Beach County. We act as the liaison between our clients, who are either, some of them are local companies, some of them are coming from all over the world, and we work with them as the liaison with our local municipalities to sort through all of the details that are required for a production. And what we do is very unique. It's never black and white. It is sometimes we work in the gray, because these production companies, some of them are standard walk and talk, others are we're jumping a car off the Lake Worth Pier and into the ocean. So we've got to make accommodations. We've got to know our rules and regulations and ordinances within Palm Beach County to make sure that we're doing it safely, to make sure that the production companies have the proper insurance requirements to secure a permit. And what's great about us working with these municipalities is we are not the authorization. It's really on those municipalities. We work with them as the liaison to facilitate what's going to take place, but ultimately it's up to them to approve or not approve production that may take place there.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor Baxter. I got it right.
It's a new day. Good morning, everyone. So several questions. I'll start from the beginning. You had started the presentation with saying we are at maximum taxation of 6%. And then, I also see that we are trying to still pay off some of the debt, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to beat you up too much on the maximum taxation because, there's that. But I do want to know, when I look at it, it was on slide number, I guess page 4 on your slide, but page 2 of our handout. And it says that we are using 48.32% in advertising. And I'm assuming that's of the 84 million?
So Vice Mayor, that is our county ordinance. So 40, let's see. Oh, so 48.32%, that is the allocation which goes to Discover the Palm Beaches for marketing as it relates to a national and international level.
Now, I think we would be pressed to find someone who doesn't know about Palm Beach County at this point, or several things. Do we find that this budget for advertising is necessary? Could it not be, in your opinion, spent better, used better, allocated towards something else?
So our current split between marketing and infrastructure right now is 51% infrastructure and 49% marketing. State statute requires at least a minimum of 40% be spent towards marketing and promoting the county. I do think that we utilize our dollars to the maximum capacity as far as bringing in visitors, and from our perspective, that shows within the growth from year to year from visitation as well as economic impact as well as bed taxes.
What extra, I mean, you're saying, so Florida statute says we have to spend 40%.
A minimum of 40%.
A minimum, and we're at 48. What would you say we're getting for those extra dollars? Good morning.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity for being here. Nice to meet Commissioner Flores and Mr. Powell. Looking forward to working with you, sirs. Very good question, Commissioner. And the answers are plenty. Number one, to start with the number of visitors that we're getting, 9.5 million visitors that we're getting every single year. We've been breaking records every single year for the last, I don't know, maybe decade or so.
Forgive me, let me be more specific. For the extra dollars that we're spending, I mean, I understand we're bringing in huge amounts of people, but are we bringing, is there a way to, how many extra are we bringing for those dollars?
Defining a specific dollar allocation for every visitor, it's quite a complex matter. It is almost impossible to tell you exactly the specific dollar allocation for every particular visitor or additional visitor. But when you put the total numbers into this, the number of, and again, marketing metrics that are the ones that we're pushing forward, from impressions to visitation to revenue, that translate into the tax that we're celebrating here today, 84, which will be higher this fiscal. The numbers that we have is, well, if you compare the numbers from other DMOs across the nation, we're investing, of the total amount of our dollars, 70% of those are going to marketing that are generating a specific result. So it is a very compelling structure in terms of answers to demonstrate how those dollars are impacting the number of visitors and overall quality of place, quality of life, and revenue across the county.
So how are we justifying spending these dollars?
Based on trends, based on actual performance, based on a specific forecast, based on a specific benchmarks that we have, not only internals, but as well from the industry, that consistently we are surpassing those in a positive way to bring additional benefits to the county.
And when we say additional benefits, do we think we're getting more people in beds at night? Are we getting more, I mean, are we already at max capacity? Are we able to adjust that based on rates? I mean, where are we currently?
So I'll answer it, Milton. So right now, we currently have roughly 19,000 rooms available in Palm Beach County. Last month, our occupancy was around 70%. So as we look to continue to market and incentivize visitors to visit us, we want to make sure that we're at maximum capacity, or as maximum capacity could be. For instance, we don't want to be Orlando as far as the overcrowding. We don't want to be Miami-Dade. So we have that happy medium to be able to attract our visitors. The average dollar that we spend for marketing, the return on investment for every dollar that we put into the market is a $4 return on investment for marketing.
So if we lowered the rates, do you think we would be at max capacity? Because we have expensive rooms.
So we don't control the rates. That's the hoteliers. But in theory, yes, supply and demand, if the rates were lower, then more visitors will want to come and actually experience. But we do understand that it is a competitive market. And since the return, or since we've come out of COVID, more visitors are actually willing to pay for an experience, or for quality versus quantity, which is why they're choosing the Palm Beaches over Miami-Dade and Broward.
And I don't disagree with you. You're just making my point of, I don't think that the increase in advertisement dollars are necessarily impacting it as much as rates may. So I guess that's what I was kind of, unless you know something differently.
Yes, yes, of course, we have plenty, Commissioner. The fact of the matter is that the sustainable rates we have seen in this county we have 19 different subsegments in this. Normally, we perhaps think about the high end, but we have 19 different subsegments that goes from north to south to I-75 to, you name it, all of those. And each and every one of those, they have very particular conditions in the market. You position the destination in a different marketplace and a different audience for the high end, but you have to identify the different audiences to fill the hotels at I-95 corridor. So each and every one of those, we have a specific approaches, marketing metrics, to make sure that we position the destination and we generate visitations to those. Based on that demand and supply, there you see how the rate behaves throughout the seasons that we have, that goes from high season to low season in summer. So it's a very dynamic pricing approach that requires that you have to consistently be visible in those specific markets to make sure you ignite interest and certainly you create demand for those services. So that's why you need to be visible, present, to make sure you get that type of visitation that we have. Not only from Discover, but as well from the others as well. This is not just one particular agency. When you put all of this together, is that we have the power. That's why we bring 9.5 million visitors. We have 4 very good agencies, plus the county, plus the ERM, plus the convention center working in the same direction.
You have already said that you aren't able to, I guess, per dollar quantify how that works out. So I'm curious how we're still coming to that similar conclusion. But I'm going to move on. I would like to also ask, if we do have this debt service, how much capacity, and this might be a question for you, Isami, do we have left in the convention center parking garage?
When you define capacity,
Like, how many open spaces do we generally have daily, or
that information I cannot provide top of my mind.
is it usually full?
No, because it runs based on event, but I should share, and it's an important consideration, that one of the offerings that the county put on the table for the second convention hotel was precisely offering parking. So if I take into consideration the operation of the convention center and the upcoming second convention hotel, my answer will be that will bring the parking to be fully occupied between the two, assuming that when we bring the second convention center hotel to this board approves the deal, right? But when you combine the two between events and operation, and then what the second hotel will require for its operation, the parking will be spoken for.
And do we currently rent those spaces out prior to this extra hotel to anyone?
Dave Anderson operates as a function of the events. Keep in mind that the main purpose of that garage is to make sure that the operation of the convention center can happen, right? So the garage is there to serve the operation of the convention center hotel. He is able to accommodate specific events as needed on a case-by-case basis, not on permanent lease, so to speak.
I guess where I was going with that is, why aren't we then maximizing our ability to make dollars off of space?
There are limitations that come with the funding source of the parking garage, right? So the parking garage was funded through a bond that is being paid as we share with TDT dollars, with bed tax dollars. And it was designed to capture current operations and the fully built convention center, which under the current DRI, Development of Regional Impact Order, can go actually to 650,000 square feet, right? So that's the big picture, why in the past we have actually come to this board with requests that others have made for the county to lease those spaces, and everything taken into consideration, the board has told us, keep moving forward as you are, continue to keep those spaces for convention center use, and then for the other expansions that are planned and have been planned for years.
And I don't disagree with keep moving forward. I don't disagree with having those spaces to provide for its purpose, but I feel like we're just missing out on an opportunity where there could be additional revenues to help pay off some of these debt services. But again, up to the board. Thank you.
Mayor,
Ms. Baker?
Vice Mayor, actually, we do rent out spaces. We have a cap, and if I remember correctly, it's roughly about 250,000 that we can generate in additional revenue. And so we have to stay under the IRS requirement because we issued non-taxable bonds. And so we do work with our partners around there, which is the hotel, when they're having something and we're dark, then we can rent out spaces to them. We do. We just don't have a long lease with them because when we're trying to bring in events, we will need that space. So when the space is available, we do work with them, but we also track to ensure we don't violate the cap based upon the non-taxable bonds we issued to build the garage.
Are those bonds paid off?
Not at this point.
And forgive me, I know you covered it, but that was a lot of information. How much left do we have to pay off? 42 million. And once those bonds are paid off, are we still capped by that number?
I don't know that for certain 100%. However, I can double check. I would venture to think that if it's paid off,
The restriction.
we should be okay.
So-
However, we would be in a position to, if legal says so, after we double check with legal, if it is available, then we would be in a position. However, if we're entered into a contract with another entity for the hotel, then those spaces are already committed. So I venture to say we would possibly be in a loose situation where we could not enter into another lease for the same spaces.
So if I may, Administrator and Vice Mayor, and maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here because we're still in negotiations, right? But I think it's important to keep in mind a few things that you're going to hear me say when we come to the board, hopefully in the next month or so, with terms for approval of that second convention center hotel. That deal is basically based on leasing out spaces in the long term. We're not talking 5 years, right? Leasing out the spaces that second convention center hotel will require to be able to operate and to be able to build the hotel. Right now, the proposal that is on the table and that was recommended by the selection committee does not provide for the spaces they need as part of the construction of the hotel, right? So you're going to have a long-term, I'm going to call it encumbrance, commitment on the spaces that you have available. At the same time, you have a plan that this board has approved in the past many years ago to be able to expand on that convention center hotel. You have a study that was done about 4 years ago that says if the county is to remain competitive in this business, there are a few things you need to do. You need to improve on your current infrastructure short term, which we have been doing with renewal, replacement, minor things that needed to be addressed in the convention center. You need to work towards getting a second hotel here. And then number 3, you need to start thinking about that expansion, right? All that combined will basically encumber the totality of your garage, which was built precisely to support that convention center operation, right? More details will follow. I give you my word that those are part of the negotiation deal for the second convention hotel. And one of the things that staff will have to bring to the table precisely is if this board will enter into a lease for that second convention center hotel, we will need to talk about the bond and the implications it has. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I'm not yet ready to come back to this board with a full term sheet. I have, as the sole negotiator, not reached agreement yet with the proposer on all terms, so that's why I'm keeping it at a high level, but thought I should give you an idea of where we are.
And if I may, have we put out the RFP or any RFP for a second hotel yet?
Yes, and it went
And it
to
has
the
been answered
selection
and
committee. So,
selection-
yes, we advertised the RFP, proposals were received, selection committee took place, and we're actively in negotiations. And I am, in representation of county staff, the sole negotiator being communicating with the proposer. And my expectation is that, I will say within a month or so, if we close the one open item that we have, we will be sitting in front of this board with a full term sheet.
Thank you.
Administrator Baker.
Just to follow up with my awesome staff was listening, the bonds will mature in 2036. And once the bonds have matured, we can then maximize the amount of revenue by leasing out spaces, if they are available. The other encumbrance is the other hotel, and keeping in mind that we will be looking, the master plan is to expand the convention center.
I'm going to actually interject for a second. The life expectancy of the garage was based on what? So if we have not full capacity now, it extends the life expectancy of the garage. So I'm guessing, what did we plan?
It was planned for full build-out of the convention center.
No, I realize that, but life expectancy 40 years, life expectancy 50 years. If we fill it today 100%, it shortens the life expectancy because of wear and tear on the garage. So I guess my question is, if we are not at capacity now, we're extending the life expectancy of the garage. What did we determine the life expectancy of our garage would be?
I don't have that answer. I can research it and circle back.
Because it's a sort of chicken or the egg thing. We can fill it now and make and get revenue, or we fill it now, we get revenue, but we, shorten the life expectancy of the structure. Okay, thank you. Done? Okay, Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. Just a couple of questions. One is, on your annual debt service, what's the total annual debt service of your budget? How much of your budget is encumbered in debt service right now?
One moment, Commissioner. I would say about $14 million annually.
So
encumbered in.
14 million of the 87 is going to debt service?
Yes, sir. That's what we actually pay. But 33% of the total allocation is split out between the first and fourth, as far as county ordinance.
So you can only use the first 2 pennies for debt service?
The first and fourth, they're dedicated
First and
for infrastructure and debt service, as well as renewal and replacement.
So those 2 pennies, and beyond that, are you able to use other funds for debt service, or that's it?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So of those then what is of the first and fourth penny, how much of that is allocated to debt service? What's left?
So that breaks out into annually, out of $84 million, we allocated $29 million to debt service in 2024.
So you have 29 in debt service. And the first and the fourth penny make up total of what? How much?
33% total.
But
A dollar number.
Oh, dollar amount?
yeah,
Oh.
sorry. Well, it'll be 33% of roughly 90.
9 million.
Of 90, yeah, so. And of that, 14 million is encumbered?
It is actually encumbered. We work through OFMB to pay our debt services yearly, so they are encumbered.
And
We have
so,
a payment schedule that we adhere to.
so there's 15 million that remains of the first and fourth penny?
Yes. So any unused dollars, so as revenues increase, and any unused dollars for our debt service then falls down to reserve, and then we will look to actually either pay off debt early, or look to save and look for different infrastructure that will come out of the master plan as to what the next significant or signature infrastructure should be recommended for Palm Beach County.
What's your reserve at right now?
between the first and fourth penny, those reserves are, as the adopted budget, as it sits right now, that reserve position is at $60 million.
6-0?
60.
Okay. All right. And I'm guessing these bonds were issued at favorable interest rates
So we had the opportunity
to
coming out of
refinance?
COVID to refinance, and we had them considerably lower those interest rates. So we're benefiting. We actually have great debt. Those actually debt service, we actually reap great interest rates based off of the debt that we do have from the balance brought forward as well.
Okay. And then I need to do a shout out for the Student Showcase of Films, and if you haven't been, it's a great event, and so I want to thank the Film Commission for putting that on every year. It really does give our students an outlet and an opportunity to showcase their talents, and I have to say, we have some really talented kids here in Palm Beach County. No big surprise, I think, to anybody. And then Commissioner or Vice Mayor Baxter, we did an analysis on the Convention Center garage parking. I want to say it was last year we did it in conjunction with facilities. I want to say on average, it averages out about a 10% occupancy rate of the garage. There were only a couple of days, and one of them had to do with the I want to say it's the Mayor's Ball. And so that's really an evening event where we pretty much can get the garage up to about 80%. But in general, the numbers are relatively low. I've asked about this. It's an opportunity, I think, understanding that we've got that $250,000 cap on revenues. But yeah, I mean, just as a convenience to people, to have that garage open is a real benefit. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. And Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Mayor. As to what the Vice Mayor was asking with regard to questions, I know at the state we deal with Visit Florida, and I know you said earlier a portion of the funds that are being allocated do come from Visit Florida. Let me ask you the question, is when it comes to Discover the Palm Beaches and those funds, and the 48% of funding that's being used there, who are we in competition with? Is it other counties or other counties in the state of Florida? Are we in competition nationally? Are we competing with Seminole County, Pinellas, Duval, Miami-Dade, Broward? Are we competing globally or even nationwide?
Yeah. Very good question, Commissioner. First, we don't get any revenue from or income from Visit Florida.
Okay.
We don't. From the state, we don't. Regarding your question, we compete between the leisure market and meetings and conventions. We have two different set of competitive set. Pretty much in terms of leisure, our competition is national and international. The Palm Beaches are well recognized. When we do our brand awareness studies, the top of mind awareness of our destination is really high. Over 44% have a brand awareness recognition of our name, which is really good. And while the entire state of Florida growth in terms of brand awareness is 6%, ours is 9% in the last few years. So that's very indicative of how we've been able to position here in the nation. Our top feeder markets are New York, all that area, Boston, Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, D.C. We have the number one market, international market is Canada. Then we have UK. Then we have Brazil. Then we have Colombia, and we have Germany. So as you can see, we're talking about a very international and worldwide approach. In groups and conventions, we compete against, believe it or not, Orlando. We compete against Fort Lauderdale. We compete against Miami. We compete against some of the West Coast high-end destinations as well, and some of the Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. So It's a big scope, sir.
Thank you. Follow-up, you indicated that, we do have a high brand recognition. The Vice Mayor did indicate that if we were to reduce that, it would probably have a minimal impact. If that were the case, if we were to reduce it down to the 40% that the state statute requires, where would those other funds be allowed to be used at? Would that be, the additional funds be allowed to be used for facilities, or how would that work?
As to source for
the split.
makeup, any,
Yes.
So,
the only,
so I can answer that. So then the additional dollars would then have to be reallocated towards infrastructure.
Okay, and that's possible. That is something that could happen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The conversation moved forward a little bit with regard to the parking garage and parking spaces. And this question is probably for you, Ismay. On average, and I know several years ago, the cost of construction of a parking space, and this is a long time ago, when when I was working on development projects, was $40,000. I'm sure that has increased by now. What would be the cost of the construction of one parking space on average?
We're actually using a very similar figure for planning purposes for structure parking, 35 to 40 on our documents. 1,000, I should say.
Thank you. So if it's 35 to 40,000 per space, and this backs into your question, Mayor, where we're sitting, and Commissioner Weiss indicated at about a 10% occupancy rate of the garage, and we're spending, or it costs us for the construction and development, about $40,000 per space. The lifetime of the garage, wouldn't we be losing money if we're sitting at, I'm not sure how many spaces are in the garage, but if it's only annually occupied by about 10%, is there a calculation of what we're losing in terms of not being occupied in that garage? And with regard to the wear and tear, by use anyways, if it's not at full capacity, when the garage is still being used, we're still seeing the wear and tear on that garage, and it would still depreciate in terms of what we're seeing every year. Is that correct?
So, no, I do not have a number that will directly answer your question. I can certainly research it and circle back with an answer to this board, okay? I should mention, and I think it's important to keep in mind, I think the 10% Commissioner Weiss mentioned was based on data, information that was provided by the convention center operator, and I think your staff, Commissioner, reviewed it. We have performed, I think, collectively about 5 parking studies supporting the operation, tracking the use that comes and go with the convention center. And it's, I will argue, important to keep in mind that that use of the convention center is the driver behind the garage, right? And is what has historically kept the garage being used to support other uses in a permanent way, because I need to go back to the comment that Administrator Baker made. The current operator does allows parking on a case-by-case basis as long as it is not impeding the base use, which is to support events at the parking at the convention center. Because if he doesn't have the parking to be able to support the events, then he is hindering his own ability to be able to move events forward. But I can certainly research the topic as to return on investment, wear and tear on the garage, and the analysis as to how it balances out.
Thank you. You indicated that we're allowed, or Administrator Baker, you indicated that we're allowed up to $250,000 in additional funds that can be collected with the use, or additional revenue with the use of the garage. 2 questions along those lines, and you don't have to give it to me now, or I can bring it back. Annually, are we hitting that cap of $250,000? And if we are, what are those additional funds allowed to be used for?
I'll answer the second portion of it first. any revenue that's generated by the manager of the convention center helps offset the cost of operating the convention center. We contract with them to manage the convention center, but we pay the bill. And so everything that they generate in revenue help offset it. Most convention centers do not make a profit. If they're lucky, they break even. We got to the place, I want to say, in the last 2 years, maybe?
Last 4 years, we've been operating in the black.
So we've been doing pretty good with the operations, maximizing the 250 annually, along with, we're just booming thanks to this team for especially the meeting planners and bringing them to our convention center. We've been doing pretty good. And so the residual funds from the 2 and the 4th cent, if I remember correctly, also help offset the impact of operating the convention center. So it's not as though we're just sitting there holding the money. Any given downturn in the economy, we would need to go into that reserve to help offset the need for the convention center. It also are those reserve, that 60 million that was referred to is also utilized to do renewal and replacement, maintain the convention center to the status that we want it maintained. So it's not, the funding is not just sitting there. We need those funds. We are looking and always are looking for opportunities to bring sporting events, et cetera. And the convention center, sometimes we have to modify things and it takes a little more money in order to host it. But that is where we are with that second part. The first part I'll get back with you on.
Okay. Thank you. In relationship to, and I know it was mentioned, Discover the Palm Beaches and Visit Florida, what is the relationship? What's the nexus?
Very important, sir. Pretty much on partnerships that we're doing with them. Visit Florida provides certain assets and activations and marketing options that otherwise will be extremely expensive for us to incur. So we partner with them and we do specific investment in markets that they provide you with a full menu of options throughout the year. And you select the markets in which you want to go and partner with. And that's what we have done with them, as well as with the USA DMO, which is Brand USA. Those two partners, Brand USA and Visit Florida, are the ones that we approach that way.
Have you calculated the cost of that, or what that looks like in terms of if you were to look at that qualitatively and turn that into a quantitative figure of what that amount looks like in terms of the assistance, the branding, the tools that the state is supplying to what Discover the Palm Beaches is doing?
In terms of comparing how much it will cost us versus going through them,
if you were to do it independently without the resources of the state, let's say you've got these tools that you're using, how much money is that? What does that look like in terms of dollars? You know, what's saved?
our last partnership with Visit Florida this fiscal year, past fiscal year, was around $300,000 that we invested with them.
With regard to the facilities and the Convention Center Hotel, and forgive me, I'm not familiar with the new location or the conceptual site of where the second Convention Center Hotel will be. Where is that proposed to be located?
So let me make it very clear that all we have at this point is a proposal. So I don't want to present it as a final determination because this board has not voted on it, okay? But as a result of the RFP, there was one proposal recommended for approval.
Okay, yes, Sammy, I'm
Okay.
going to cut you off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being that the RFP's out and in discussion, let's not continue the discussion on the RFP.
All right. My question,
Is it though? It's at the flat surface parking lot next to it.
that was going to be my question. I know there's another parking lot there, and I was wondering if those parking spaces were also being utilized.
There's 500 spaces back there too.
Thank you. That's my question. We've got a parking garage with a number of spaces, and then I know there's a
Surface parking.
surface parking lot that, combined with the garage, would seem to be a number of other spaces that currently are not being utilized. So that was part of my question. Thank you.
I can answer the question about the spaces. I think you're referring to the spaces that are behind the convention center,
Correct.
that surface plot. Those particular parking spaces are utilized by the vendors when they come in and they need to park, et cetera. They're not necessarily parking in the garage. And so the convention center uses that for a number of supporting type events. And again, it depends on whether the convention center is dark, whether they have a very large exhibit moving in. So it will depend upon a number of factors, but that is space in the back. And that is also the space that's envisioned for the expansion of the convention center.
And thank you for that. And the reason I had asked that question for clarification is I know there's only so much land available on the site where the convention center is, and I haven't looked at it in total, so I wanted to know what the layout of the parking is currently, and is that consistent with the number of spaces that are available? My last question is, when it comes to the Cultural Council and Push Media, the payments, Push is at $1 million a year, while Google's at $632,000. I'm not super familiar with Push Media, and I know you kind of hit on it a little bit. Can you explain to me exactly what Push Media is and why it's at $1 million while everything else is significantly lower?
Thank you for the question. Push Media is our agency of record, so they're the folks that design our advertising concept. They do a lot of our media buying for us as well. So that's what that contract is made up of.
Thank you. No further questions, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor, may I add to the Commissioner? Commissioner, on your question regarding Visit Florida, the other very important component is that they provide a matching option from state funds. Between 20 to 50% of what we put in, they match and increase the total amount. And number two, because of the fact that they buy in a more larger scope, we benefit from accessing media buys at a better rate because Visit Florida buys in a bigger scope than us. So those are additional two benefits that when you get into partnership with the state, you get access to.
So let me ask this question, Mayor. Matching dollars. And earlier you said there's no funding that comes from Visit Florida. I'm confused. If there's matching in terms of advertising.
Correct.
So I guess it's two different pots. How does that work?
Two different approach. We don't have any revenue from the state for operational funding. We have promotional and partnership activities in which Visit Florida is willing to offer us and any other DMO in the state that type of approaches. If you put X amount of dollars, they will, from their own budget, they will match and increase your buying power between 20 to 30%, 50%. But it's not operational funding that we're getting from them. It's specifically for partnership and marketing investment in the marketplace.
Thank you. And I think my question was referencing the 48% that was being spent on marketing earlier. So I may be misstated something in terms of my questioning. Thank you.
Actually, I'm going to jump in, even though I see other lights. The 48% that we spend, how is that comparable to the other large markets? So are we spending more or as a percentage? Are we spending more or less than other markets?
In terms of distribution, we have a very favorable distribution in terms of the uses of the funds. Typically, any DMO in the nation, Madam Mayor, invests close to 50-55% of the total dollars in marketing. We're investing 70% of those dollars into the ones that return the most, which is the room tax at the end. So that's critical. In terms of comparison, number of total absolute dollars, I can tell you, for example, Puerto Rico, which is a highly competitive. Budget is $50 million. Miami, it's $40-50 million. Fort Lauderdale as well, higher than us. Orlando, like $100 million. So for a destination of our size, which is 20,000 rooms, with close to 8,000 to 9,000 apartment units in the business, with $9.5 million, based on what we've seen, our budget should be close to $30 million. That's a sweet spot. But we've been able to do a phenomenal job with the budget we have had in conjunction with the other agencies and the leadership of TDC.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I forgot initially to ask the one question. We have 9.5 million visitors that came in. Do we know where they're coming from and how they're getting here? Are they flying into PBI? How?
6.6 came in via PBI. So our airports department is rocking. They're firing on all cylinders. And as they look to expand and offer more direct flights, of course, that number will increase and we'll look to bring more visitors. But our large market is coming from our New York, our Chicago, and our Northeast areas as well.
So we are getting about 2/3 of those are actually flying into PBI.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
That's good. And then with the marketing, I meant to ask as well, how much of the marketing is on getting visitors to come here versus what they do once they get here? So there's a broader economic impact outside of just the bed tax.
So we do market to actually get them to come here, and once they're here, we actually invite them to actually discover the Palm Beaches, which is why that name was originally created, to get out and venture out and explore all 39 cities and municipalities. We do offer a lifestyle, so we are selling a lifestyle. It's the reason why the commissioners as well as our team live here versus living in the northern states. We are at a premium, and we do offer a lifestyle.
Are we able to track who's really benefiting? Is restaurants? Is it retail shopping? Our cultural museums, institutions? Do we know kind of the breakdown on who's really benefiting from people coming into the hotels?
Yes, that's one of the most important questions, Commissioner. And that's how we're investing significant allocation into the technology development of our platform and how we follow from the moment ad is served to a particular potential visitors until that person is here. And we have the capability, and now we're trying to really enhance the way we manage that relationship from the moment the person is contacted or an ad is served to the moment that person is here, and how that person will spend time and obviously resources and money in the destination. And for example, right now we are creating an app which is going to be to complement the advertising effort to attract a visitor here. So once they are here, we provide additional real-time options through the app to make sure we maximize the time of that particular visitor in the destination, increasing the possibilities to go to restaurants, to go to museums, to go to the different activities that we have. So as we speak, that is one of the most important components to really amplify the, not only maximizing the investment that we're putting into the marketplace, but also maximize the time and the resources of that visitors while here in the destination, on destination.
So what are we doing as far as how are we reaching out to our smaller businesses, our small restaurants, are those that maybe aren't tapped into the bigger resort type areas? But I mean, we have a lot of great places all around the county, little special nooks and crannies that even I don't know about. How are we working with them to kind of bring them into the fold?
Absolutely.
I can answer that, Milton. So what we're doing is we're working with our partners as well as local influencers as well as the Palm Beaches TV, right, to kind of drive that traffic. We want to raise our hand to our local business partners to say, hey, if you do not have those marketing dollars, we can help market on your behalf and kind of drive that foot traffic through your business to actually help you be profitable.
Okay. And if I could, one last question, just I know we have a management company for the convention center. Are they also the ones charged with booking it, or who's charged with bringing the events in?
So that is a combination of two. That is a combination of Discover the Palm Beaches sales team as well as the convention center sales teams. They work in conjunction with the hotel that's on site, currently on site, as far as booking short-term business as well as long-term business as well.
And what's our current usage now?
For the convention center, we have limited days in which we could actually offer for renewal and replacement via facilities. So we're firing on all cylinders, booked.
And what is booked? How many days a week? How many,
Um,
or just a percentage of the year?
Percentage out of year, I would say that our down days would be 20 days in which the convention center is actually down. So out of 365, 20 days is when we're actually down. Our facilities department actually has to work overnight to be able to make sure our convention center is up to code and our standard in Palm Beach County. So they work 24 hours around the clock around our groups and our meetings that are moving in and out of the convention center.
So with the addition of the new hotel, are we just looking to keep the same number of bookings, just bigger, more profitable?
So with the
events.
addition of the hotel, we would then look to attract a different type of meeting and planners, as well as expand the convention center, right? We feel that there's a capacity that we haven't reached per the DRI, in which we can look to expand and be more competitive in comparison to our neighboring partners such as Broward, Orlando, as well as Miami-Dade. We also want to take business away from the west coast of Tampa. So the meetings and conventions that you guys go to and visit, we want to actually host that here in Palm Beach County.
Let me, if I may, Emmanuel, add a couple things because there are two comments that I would like to make. Commissioner Woodward, the addition of a second hotel allows you to have more rooms under a room block agreement, which then allows you to seek different type of groups to come right now. The current hotel has 400 rooms. We were trying to double or exceed that capacity so that different groups can come our way and make reservations to have events at the convention center. The comment Emmanuel made as to facilities supporting the operation of the convention center hotel, it is, convention center, my apologies. It is a county-owned facility, which means that the renewal and replacement that takes place in it and is done is paid with TDT funds and is implemented by the Facilities Development and Operations Department. So that's why he mentioned we're scheduling our work at nights and over the weekends because we work around their off days.
Okay, so just so that I know that you said that there's 20 down days, but the days that it's being used, is it fully being used? Is it booked, but maybe a quarter of it or half of it's being used? I mean, how much of it's really like fully?
Fully being utilized, I would say about between 75 to 80% maximum capacity as far as utilization.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Baxter and then Commissioner Flores.
Thank you. Of that 70%, following up on Commissioner Woodward's questions, that's of convention center being used, is that also parking spaces?
I can't speak to the parking spaces, so I don't think that is an addition.
What
to
is
the
do we have a max capacity head count for the convention center if we're talking 70%?
My apologies, occupancy.
Mm-hmm.
I will circle back on that when 10,000 is coming to mind, but I am not 100% certain on that number. So if you allow me to circle back, I will do so.
Please. Also, if we were talking about roughly 84 million in bed tax, and then 48.32% of that going to advertising. We're about 8.32% over that 40% that I guess we are mandatory to use in advertising or mandated to use. I would like to know, in that gap of roughly, I'm going to approximate $7 million, and I assume the bed taxes are probably going up again, so it'd give us a little more. Is there anything that would you suggest or maybe recommend paying off the debt service of that 42 million a little sooner, maybe using those dollars so that we can bring in money? And please let me ask the remainder of my questions before we get answers. How much does it cost, or how much can we rent out each space for? And how much is it costing us having that debt service? And is it worth paying off sooner?
If you don't mind, Vice Mayor, we will appreciate the opportunity to come back then with an analysis that includes the Office of Financial Management and Budget so that they can do the projections of what it means to pay out the debt and what are the implications, because it goes back to a function as well of what were the interest rates when that debt was put in place, what is the current balance, what are the current interest rates, and how the two will balance off.
And I understand that, but do we have an approximate of how much we would make on each parking space?
I don't at this time.
Any other questions?
Yes. Which of the pennies, of the 6 pennies, are allowed to be applied towards debt service?
So those are the first and the fourth.
Those are the only 2.
Yes, ma'am.
So no other dollars can be applied towards debt service?
No, ma'am.
And if you don't mind, Madam Mayor, would you mind if I asked Don to come up here and answer some questions? Dufresne? I know I'm putting him on the spot, but
It's a little uncalled for, but.
I just had some questions that I think he has a unique perspective sitting on the council as well. If he's willing.
Come
If you
on
don't
up,
want to.
Don. Now, remember, Don is not a staffer. He is a representative appointed by
Me.
Vice Mayor Baxter to the,
Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am a Tourist Development Council board member, and I will be speaking in my individual capacity, apparently.
Or not, more of your, you've been a resident here and lived and done this for a very long time. I guess my take on it and question are, what is your take on advertising dollars versus rates of the hotels? And how do they impact each other?
Well, some of the numbers you can look at are occupancy, right? I mean, so I'm not sure where our occupancy rates are right now, but you can look and see if there's been an appreciable increase or decrease in occupancy rate. I also think there's a certain amount of marginal utility you get from advertising dollars that at some point you're getting very little return for the more money you keep spending and spending and spending. With regard to facilities and debt service, we're tapped out on the ability to create any new infrastructure or obtain any new infrastructure right now. But I don't think there's any restriction on this board revising the ordinance and reallocating certain of those pennies if they wanted to. So that's something that could be looked at, so that you've got money for debt service, that you've got money for additional infrastructure, which is good for tourism. As George will tell you, we can't have events without the facilities. As I like to say, we're not going to have any alpine skiing events here anytime soon. So what do we have to sell? So the facilities decisions to be made as to infrastructure for tourism that will drive tourism, just like the baseball stadiums. You also had the ability to enhance when you bring facilities, even though they are tourism dollars being spent on those facilities, you enhance residents' lives too. It can't be the primary aspect of it, but it is definitely a residual aspect of it. And it's a reallocation of a tourism dollar from advertising to brick and mortar, for lack of a better term, so that you've actually got a facility, that you've got something else to sell, which enhances tourism as well. So.
Thank you so much. Ismi, if you would, when you come back to us with the dollars and parking space, if you'd also bring back to us the process and what maybe potentially reallocating some of the dollars penny to penny would look like, and what flexibility we have, what process that looks like, I'd appreciate it.
And so let's be clear, you're here in your own private capacity and as a volunteer on the board, and have, as it sounds, a little different opinion than the staff.
Oh, usually, yeah.
All right, I just wanted to clear that up.
I do want to let you know that I do have my undergrad is international business, so I do understand marketing and the concepts involved, however, so, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unless there's anybody else I can answer questions for.
We're good.
No? Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores.
All right. First of all, thank you guys for the presentation, and to my fellow commissioners, love the thoughtful questions. Thank you so much for all that. My first question is tourism. Where, industry-wise in the county, where does it rank?
So first will be agriculture, then we will say construction, and then following suit will be tourism.
So tourism is number 3
Yes.
in revenue generation here in the county. My question to you guys is, do you guys see any limitations or hurdles in the current infrastructure that you need in order to continue to grow what we currently have? Because what I see here is 96,000 people are depending on us to continue to bring tourists into the county and to continue to bring dollars into the county. So what do we need to do to make sure that we continue to flourish, we continue to grow? What are some limitations, hurdles that you see? And I live out west, and you said the big 3 is equestrian, but yet there's hardly any hotels out there. So I'll let you guys run with this one.
So I'll touch on it. So as we continue to look to see what our next signature piece will be, that will start with our tourism master plan. So that will be a master plan that will be rolled out to say, hey, what should our next investment should be? Whether it's indoor facility or outdoor facility to actually bring more visitors here. That's where we're doing our focus group, and we're actually putting our attention to. We actually hired a consultant by the name of CSL. This board approved that contract in June. So that is where we will be looked to be data driven to say what should our next signature infrastructure be to set us apart from our counterparts within the Tri-County area.
So outside of your scope, right, because I know what you guys focus on, what do you need from us?
From the commission.
From the commission, meaning infrastructure. Is the airport functioning as it should? Do we need more there? Transportation, roads, moving people, east, west, north, south. So that it's a broad question, and it goes beyond your scope. But it's important for us to know what we need what we need to provide you guys to be successful.
So, in short, the development of the airport will certainly go a long way to help bring more residents. Focus on transportation. As our visitors come in, how can we move our visitors from Tequesta all the way down to Boca, from Palm Beach to South Bay, right? What are some more efficient ways in which we can move our visitors so they can have a more pleasurable experience? What does that look like? Another area in which we can look to actually help or look for help coming up with.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Coming up with more creative hubs. I know, for instance, in Tampa, they have trolleys, that move the circuit throughout the cities, looking at bigger cities and seeing what they're doing, what works for them, and that can go hand in hand with how we can help our visitors improve in their experience while they're here.
Anybody else want to jump in?
I want to add something, if I may, for a second. The master plan, actually, part of the information gathering process, includes questions addressing precisely that, right? And the consultant is going out to all stakeholders, Board of County Commissioners included. When the contract was executed, I think one of the first things that Emmanuel and the TDC team did was reach out to the Board of County Commissioners, which we will now do with the new commissioners, and make sure we are bringing to the table those stakeholders and network that you have so that a full spectrum of the needs, infrastructure, transportation, availability, is captured as part of that master plan, which will become the roadmap if the board approves the same moving forward. Regarding the airports, I wanted to share, Commissioner, and we will take the opportunity to sit down with you and the Director of Airports, Laura Beebe, to go over the very comprehensive plan that this board approved back in April, May. Airports has a significant capital improvement coming, which includes a current rec facility, which includes another site for development of a hotel, which includes expansion of the terminals, new construction of their fire station within the airport. So the plan they have for years to come is very aggressive. It was approved by this board at a conceptual level, and the items have been flowing in. I cannot say it any other way. Laura and her team have certainly been moving forward at a fast pace to implement that long-term vision, right? That goes with how do we support this team on the tourism side. So I wanted to offer those additional 2 bits of information.
Commissioner, if I may,
Yes.
to your question, As a matter of fact, all the information regarding the tourism master plan, it's in the website. And the consultant, CSL, they have produced 3 very important documents reflecting the initial feedback from the communities. But you will find comments about housing. You will find comments about lack of workforce. So different aspects that we should pay attention to and holistically come up with some solutions. You will see comments on need for additional infrastructure. We're getting a very robust feedback from the stakeholders and residents as well. Just to let you know, sir, in the last resident survey that we serve to our communities, all the communities, 75% of our residents are saying that are extremely satisfied and support the economic impact and development of tourism for the county. So that's significant, and how we blend the expectations and the needs of our residents with the expectations and enjoyment of potential visitors. I think the tourism master plan will provide all of us and you as our county commissioners a roadmap to really identify where do we need to change, or where we should do this, or stop doing this, or do more of that. And I think it's a phenomenal period for us that we are here communicating what we're doing with a tourism master plan right across the corner, around the corner, to see what we should be thinking and how we should be thinking from allocation of funds to potential projects that we should make them a priority.
George?
Thank you, Commissioner. I agree with everything that's been said about the tourism master plan. There's a lot of resources and a lot of effort that's being put into this, and this would be a guiding plan and document that sets the tone for the future. I will say that I think a critical asset for tourism and a vital asset for our residents is our county's parks and recreation system. I think I know we have one of the best, if not the best, parks and rec system in the nation. It's been recognized as such. It is the #1 provider for our sports commission in terms of venues. We're not always hosting the largest or most attended events, but it's one of the most frequent calls we make when we're trying to identify venues for sporting events on regional, national, global levels that we're bidding on. So I believe strongly that Parks and Recreation is a part of our tourism fabric. It's when we have visitors here, it's often a place that they will go to as they're looking for different experiences. And they're a tremendous venue for tourism and economic development. So I think, as you mentioned, what can you do for us? I would say also just considering and watching over our Parks and Rec system.
Awesome.
Commissioner, if I may. I want to echo a point that Milton made about resident sentiment and about its importance in the development of the tourism master plan. We hope that residents see that we're working for them and working to enhance the county through tourism. And so these initiatives that we're all working on collectively only help the economy here in Palm Beach County. I think that's an important thing. Housing has come up again and again. I don't need to tell any of you, affordable housing is important for our workforce. That's also extremely important. And the last thing I'll say is don't forget about cultural infrastructure as well. There are opportunities that our world-class, and that term is used a lot, but we are fortunate here in Palm Beach County to have world-class cultural institutions that either have their own permanent homes or many that don't. So the development of cultural infrastructure to make sure we have gathering spaces so that our residents, our visitors can attend and enjoy and learn through the arts is also important. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll just try to wrap this up a little bit, but I want to mention the structure that's here at the table as well. This is a very unique infrastructure that we have with the oversight of the county and the TDC, and to have these individual agencies and the experts, the leaders that are at the table. We are not departments within other departments. We are equal partners at the table that bring expertise to the table. And so I'm very proud of what we have here in Palm Beach County that gives us the opportunity to really share with you how important each one of our sectors are for tourism.
Excellent. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm not an expert, but I can see if the equestrian is a major part of our industry, yet we don't have hotels out there. That concerns me. Also, I love PBI. I think it's an amazing airport. You're in and out so quickly. but the number one reason I don't use it is because I am not stopping somewhere else. So the more direct flights that we have in and out of PBI, I think will attract more people to want to come into Palm Beach County. That's why, you know, I made those comments. My next question has to do with the parking garage. So the parking garage is meant to really service the people attending the convention center. But you're telling me that 70% occupancy rate throughout the year. I find that hard to believe. And the reason I say that is because every time I go there, it's for a lunch or breakfast or a dinner. All the other event spaces, the meeting rooms, are usually empty. So my question is, when we are renting out the convention center, is it just for one event like I just mentioned, or is it a massive convention, which is what ideally we would like, where there's breakout sessions and we're bringing large volume of people, and I'm assuming that's why we need a second hotel to provide that extensive accommodation. So I'll put this on you guys and let me know if I'm off here.
So, Commissioner, we actually layer our approach to the convention center. So we don't like to stack our meetings and conventions on top of each other, so we're not impeding or ruining the customer's experience, right? So if our breakout sessions, if one particular, let's just say our massive exhibit hall, sometimes a meeting and convention may require breakout sessions, so we will then rent out our exhibit hall and use those breakout sessions as micro sessions so that the exhibitor can then be able to break out and tell their story how they want to tell it. But I will invite you to the convention center during January and February so you can see it at peak maximum occupancy, where we're running shows, multiple events, and then you can see the utilization first and forehand. One thing that George forgot to mention that we actually did convert the convention center. We actually hosted what is it? National Cornhole at the convention center, and it was televised live during our Final Four. So they rented out our exhibit space. You had the youngest competitor ranging from 5 all the way to 86 years old, and they're able to compete. It was a free ticketed event for anybody that wanted to flow in and out, but people are paying to use our convention center.
Well, I'll add on to that, and this is just a nice bit of history. I think that's something pretty unique. Last summer, in August, we hosted the first Olympic qualifier to take place in the United States for the 2024 Paris Games. And when you think about all of the Olympic qualifiers and the Olympic trials, and equestrian was home to an Olympic trial for Paris, but the very first one to take place in the United States, and again, think about all the great venues that hosted qualifiers and training camps and trials, but the Palm Beach County and the Palm Beach County Convention Center was the first for the 2024 Paris Games. It was gymnastics. It was a USA Gymnastics and FIG, which is the International Federation, did a trampoline and tumbling, a World Cup, and we had 29 nations, including, it's a great photo, you see flags of all nations, including China and Ukraine right next to each other. And you think about the beauty of sports and how it does bring everybody together. So, but Palm Beach County could carry that banner. The Olympics began with us. That ended up going to Paris, so.
Awesome.
And if I may, commissioners, to Commissioner Woodward's question, got confirmation from the operator of the convention center. Full day, fully stacked in the convention center, 10,000 to 12,000, depending on the setup. Okay, that's just for one day, being fully used the facility.
Virginia.
I think it might be helpful if we brought the general manager in for the convention center, along with food and beverage manager, and also from Discover, our meeting planners and the people that are responsible, so that we can give you a broader picture of our meetings and planning and the utilization of the convention center. I will also ensure that the manager talks about the parking garage. We'll have the finance folks at the table so that we can answer all your questions concerning the convention center.
And utilization of the parking garage is also dictated by, is it a local convention or is it a convention that you're bringing people from out of town? Because if you're bringing people from out of town, chances are they're doing some sort of Uber or whatnot from the airport, so they're not taking up a parking space, but they're staying in a hotel. Whereas if we're doing a local convention, a lot of times with the art, what is it? The home show convention, which is like crazy, people come from everywhere, that's when you'll see our parking garage full, because we also have local vendors that are part of the equation for that particular convention. So when we're talking about the garage, we need to back that up with, is it a local event? Is it not a local event? Are we bringing people in that are, traveling through the airport? And that dictates how our parking garage gets used also. So,
Is that something the board would like for me to do?
yes.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. They say that the three-legged stool of the budget and revenue for the state of Florida, one big one is tourism. And I am so proud of our Tourist Development Council. I've had the privilege of chairing that board for many years. And I am so proud of the successes. But also it's interesting, and I want everybody to hear this, is that you're always looking at different ways that you can improve and recreate, because that's what tourism is all about, is that recreation of it. Tourism is a reflection of our problems and our benefits. And some of the issues, and I'm so glad that you all brought it up, some of the issues that are issues for us to take care of is housing, our infrastructure, our traffic, and I think that that's very important for us to work on, because you are a reflection of what the Palm Beach County can provide for everybody. And I'm very happy to work with you, whatever you need to promote, because you are our reflection of Palm Beach County. So it's very, very important that you have everything that you need. And I'm thank you for coming before the board. I want my colleagues to know what an amazing job you all do, because it really is in every aspect. And just anybody wants to know about the airport, I've always been concerned about parking at the airport. But I heard that we are going to expand our parking at the airport. It will be less expensive than our two other airports to the south, two of which I don't need to name at this point. But our parking here in Palm Beach will be less expensive, and we will have valet coming in, which is the Palm Beach County way, I think. So thank you so much for all you do. You do an amazing job, each and every one of you. Perry, you do an amazing job, each and every one of you. And I'm proud to have been your chair for so many years, and I look forward to continued successes as you move forward. Thank you.
No, I wasn't sure who buzzed in first, so Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. I just didn't want to let this end without saying thank you for all the work that you do, and why tourism is really important to us. We have had a lot of people move here, and I like to say tourism is a good way of having people come and visit us, live here for a week or two, spend a lot of money, and then go away, come back next year, and until we get some of our housing sorted out, because we're pretty tapped out on capacity. And I've always told my family and friends, I live where you vacation, and I'm glad both of you mentioned it's important to keep our residents happy with tourism. Not to where, it becomes, oh no, it's the tourist, because, it creates a bad experience for the tourists as well. If we have grumpy residents, they don't really want to come visit with us either. So I was happy to hear that 75% of our residents right now are supportive of tourism. And so it's your job to keep it that way, and to keep us, having them come and expand the love beyond just our hotels and areas, so a lot of our small businesses can participate in it too. But I thank you for this. It's important what you do. It's a big economic driver for us. And again, they can move here years from now if they want to relocate, but right now, just come and visit us. So thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Quickly, did I hear you say that we had the qualifying games here for the Olympics?
Yes, we did. Actually, the first one to take place in the United States was at our convention center. It was a trampoline and tumbling, a gymnastics event.
So how come with all these advertising dollars, I knew nothing about this?
Well, and I think it's actually important when you look at our sports commission's budget, majority of our funding, so I'd say it's marketing and programming because we're business to business. Our dollars went to the event servicing aspects of that gymnastics meet, and it went to working with USA Gymnastics. But it's an excellent point because it was a high-level event, and off the top of my head, I can't tell you how many spectators were there, but I know we had 29 countries, and it's great publicity too. It should be.
I hope you're getting my point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we should let residents know. Please let us commissioners know when we have something of that significance in Palm Beach County. Guys.
Vice Mayor, I wanted to add, we do have an event calendar. We will be sure, it's on our page, the Tourist Development Council, as well as Discover the Palm Beaches.
What if I'm signing up for your event page, and why are we giving you money for advertising?
That,
If I may. The nature of the advertising, Commissioner, is to bring visitors from outside the county here.
But not to let our own residents know what's going on?
At this particular time, as is, we don't advertise in the market.
We might need to look at that policy too.
That's not our policy. That is the statute that we are governed by. Bed tax dollars have to be spent outward. There's another way that we can do better, and we will. But bed tax dollars can be spent outside of the county, even when we give the cultural grants. I want to say C2 and all the others, except the ad valorem dollars. The dollars we give them are marketing dollars, and they must be spent outside of the county. They must focus outside. We will do better. I thought you got that notice, but we will do better. And we can also do better with doing press releases on our side of the fence and not utilizing bed tax dollars for that purpose.
Which would be phenomenal as well. So, and I do want to end on a positive note. I do appreciate everything you do. I think tourism is so important. I think it is a driving force. I don't want you to think that escapes me. I know I ask tough questions, and you might feel like you're getting growth, but it's because I want to have the best possible process, the most cost-effective process, and just make it overall better for everyone. So thank you for what you do. Thank all of you.
Thank you.
In the master plan, because we've done a lot of questions, so I'm going to wrap it up. In the master plan, I'm sure you're going to address what type of new infrastructure facilities we're going to need in the future?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And George, thanks for the shout out to our Parks and Rec system with 110 parks here, and all we do to partner not only with you all, but with the schools and our locals. It's important. And and the beach renourishment is also very important because one of the, the wave is in the Discover logo and the palm trees. So beach renourishment is really important, and I thank you for those dollars going back to that program, and Deb Drum for facilitating such a successful program. When Milton did the presentation, I'm one of those people that your slide of 5 represents. I got interested in Florida. I visited. I fell in love. I went back to Connecticut. I came back. I bought real estate, and I stayed. So you all are doing a great job of doing that and letting folks know. And thank you for everything that you do. It's a heavy lift when you're combining all of what you do, because you each have a different niche, and we need all of them, and we need them all to work together. And thank you for being here today, and we look forward to a continued discussion about the parking garage. We're not going to have any more discussion about that right now, but we will have a continued discussion on that, and I thank you. And I don't see any lights on, so at this point I will conclude the workshop, and I just want to say thank you for all of you coming here, and make sure that you stop it.
It's not a question, it's a reminder. Or kind of. So we have a BCC meeting on December 3rd. Are we going to discuss? Okay, just making sure.
So
Well, you were concluding.
I was concluding the workshop, not the rest of the meeting. But thank you for being here. We appreciate that. I'm going to conclude the workshop. Thank you all for being here. Administrator Baker was going to cover the fact that we are not going to have our meeting next Tuesday. So would you please give us a little synopsis of how we're going to reschedule and notice?
Yes, based on input from the board and checking with legal, we will be canceling our December 3rd meeting in its totality, and we'll reschedule that particular meeting and all of the items on it, with the exception of matters by the public, which we will hold in January. I think that's correct. All of the other items will roll to the December 10th meeting. We will need to re-advertise our public hearings. We'll address that. And I've reached out to a number of staff, and we don't have any pressing issues that having that 7-day delay will occur. We are recommending this to the board so you can take the official action, so that we can memorialize our deputies that we lost so tragically last week. And so the service is scheduled for December 3rd.
And are we going to try to lessen our footprint? Do you want us to figure out carpooling, or how is that all going to work? Because I know there's going to be a lot of people wanting to attend.
It will. I will get with the board on that. Carpooling is always a good thing. That's one less vehicle on the road. But I also know that we've got some other destinations that day in mind. I will coordinate with the sheriff's office so that we will easily get in and out of the venue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. So with that, we'll just do any members from the board have any comments? So I'll work from Commissioner Flores down. Sure.
First of all, I'd like to send my condolences to a fallen. I'd like to send my condolences to the fallen heroes that served and protect this great country, great county of ours. I'd like to hold a moment of silence. Thank you. And I just want to remind everybody that we need to, when we're behind that steering wheel, we have a lot of responsibilities on our hands, and we really have to be very careful and pay attention. And I think sometimes we prioritize the cell phone and who we're talking to rather than that steering wheel. And I just remind everybody to drive very carefully out there. We're up in the holidays that are coming around the corner. So please be safe, drive carefully, spend time with your loved ones, because you don't know when your last day here is. The other question that I wanted to ask the board has to do with the countywide transportation master plan. And I am actually going to be meeting with the administrators to ask some more questions about this a little bit newer for me and probably Commissioner Powell, since we've been up here for a whole week. But my question is more to my fellow commissioners, since this is the only forum that we get to speak. I wanted to simply ask the question is, I understand that the RFP will be released out to the public, and that sort of will be the first time that we're going to see it. Was that by design? And how do we know that the RFP will include everything that we were expecting? Since you guys gave directions, you guys allocated dollars. I guess I'm trying to catch up and see what you guys are thinking, since I won't have an opportunity to see what the RFP includes.
So the RFP is working its way through the process. We've met with the electeds, we've met with the city managers, we've met with lots of different stakeholders. The RFP process, so it is not compromised, is not something that we are privy to. And I know that we're getting a lot of pushback from everybody who wants to see the RFP before it goes out on the street, but that would compromise the process. So suffice it to say that there has been a lot of input. There are a lot of agencies that have submitted their comments. There's a technical committee that has basically written the RFP. And as a matter of fact, Commissioner Woodward and I were at the whatever MCFIC stands for, multi-jurisdictional committee yesterday, and had a very long discussion about the RFP. So there is a schedule involved with it. The RFP should go out, Virginia, help me, was it January?
Since we're now pushing it back, because we had scheduled to come before you December 3rd, we'll come before you December 10th, and then probably after that, we'll release it to the public.
So Commissioner Baxter was first.
Oh, okay, thank you. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
It sounds good.
You're too sweet. I don't know who else has met with electeds, but I have not. When it came to this transportation master plan, I gave direction months ago now that we should meet with a room full of electeds, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. And managers all getting together, leaving us electeds out of the process, I'm not a huge fan of either. But I will say, as far as the RFP process, this is kind of one of those issues that I agree with you, Commissioner Flores, on, that I don't like the way it's set up, because we give direction, magically it goes out, but we don't actually ever have it in front of us to see what's in it, where we get to decide if this is exactly what we wanted in that RFP. So I don't know if there's a change in the process that needs to take place. When it comes back to us on December 10th, I'm assuming that's prior to it being released to the public, Administrator?
We are bringing back an update on how we processed it. We will not be giving out the RFP in detail. We will provide a very high summary, which is unusual because we don't even do that when it comes to RFP. And RFP is really to protect everybody involved and keep the integrity of our system so that everybody gets the same information when we release the release the RFP. If someone receives information that's going to be in the RFP before it's released, then we have challenges. And then it delays the process. And it delays the process anywhere from 8 months or more, depending on how long it takes to get through it. So as long as I've worked for the county and been around RFPs and dealing with them, you tell us what you want from a high level. Staff goes to work with that, put that information together. We have the departments that are involved in it, know the details. They're the experts on that stuff. And then they put it out. I don't even normally see RFPs. I don't see it until it comes back or there was a glitch, there was a problem, and then I have to get involved. But for 99% of them, I don't even get involved in them.
Follow up, Mayor. If you tell somebody, you can tell 5 different people the same thing and they all interpret it differently. How do we know what we're saying how do we know in these RFPs that we're getting what we want if we're not seeing it prior to it being released to the public?
Well, let me jump in for a minute. There's probably only 3 or 4 entities out there that can do an RFP of this magnitude. And being that there is a lot of moving parts to it, and there's been a ton of information out here. And I'm sorry that you hadn't met with electeds. I know that I have. I know that there's several other commissioners that have, and I've met with managers, also city managers, about this, and was very happy to hear that the city managers, who basically are, taking the information from their electeds, are in agreement with how the process is taking place. And we can't, again, as I said, there's only 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4 companies that can actually do a scope this big. We are never part of the RFP process other than giving direction. We shouldn't be. It's not our purview because we're then the ones that are deciding who is going to be getting the RFP. And I'm sure that you all have opinions about that, but I'd like to keep the integrity of the process in place and follow how we do an RFP and have done any RFP historically. We give our input. The technical committee has met because there is a very technical aspect to this. And the technical committee is not made up of just county staff. The technical committee is made up of engineers from the different municipalities. And so Virginia can expand on how many people are on the technical committee, because I didn't meet with the technical committee. That's not my purview. But suffice it to say that League of Cities has been spoken with. As a matter of fact, Virginia and Patrick are actually going to present again to them tomorrow. So this process has taken a long time. There's been many iterations of it, but any more things we throw at it will delay it even more, and it won't really be beneficial, and we're not compromising the process by doing it the way we're doing it. So that is my opinion, of course, and probably not what you wanted to hear, but that's about as succinct as I can be.
May I finish?
Sure.
And to your point, yes, I could not agree more. I don't see this as an integrity process. I see this as a delegation of authority. I mean, we're basically saying, here, staff, you get to decide what's in it to your own interpretation. I think when we, a board, are making decisions as electeds, we should be able to be assured that what we want is actually in there. So, I mean, that's kind of how I see it. I don't see it as a process, and I'm not saying we should do this, but when you say other places or other entities, even in Broward, did you know that those commissioners are allowed to reach out to somebody in an RFP? The RFP vendors cannot reach out to the electeds, but if they have questions, they can reach out to them. What is wrong with asking questions and getting more information? That's transparency. That's being able to see it all and get all the information. And again, I'm not trying to leap there, but the idea that we can't verify that we are getting the intent of what this board wanted, that doesn't seem good for the public or us at all.
I can say that the RFP covers more than we even asked. And I can say that not from I've seen the RFP, but I've heard the conversations and heard the technical committee and heard the city managers and heard the elected officials. And, it boils down to three components. It's dollars coming to the county for county projects, dollars going to the municipalities for municipal projects, and a third bucket, which is the overall global, how do we get people out of our cars who don't know that Boca ends and Delray starts. So that third component is the overall global, and really what the RFP is looking at the global perspective and the talking to the different municipalities and the comprehensive land use of those municipalities, and do they see a strip mall turning into affordable housing or multi-use, mixed use, and we as a board don't have that information. That will be for whoever wins the RFP to go out and find that information. Their direction is to go find out that information. So it's not that we're not giving them the information. It's that we can't be too tight in what we want, because then we don't get as global of a perspective as we want. So we're going back and forth. Okay. Commissioner Flores, you started this. Do you have anything else?
No, I truly wanted to get feedback from everybody, so that's why we have the conversation. So I guess I would like to hear from the other, there's a few other commissioners that have their lights on.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for bringing this up for us to have a discussion. We did have a lengthy meeting yesterday with a different group. And I would just like to say, I had a lot of questions about the process here, because in my previous life with my husband, we did deal with RFPs coming from government entities and private. And when it was government, there was always the ability to have a protest, and, which it's different. And so it's tight when the information goes out, everybody gets it at the same time. And here, I haven't seen it, and none of the commissioners have seen it. This was an interesting one, and when the conversation first came, because it was so important that our cities were a part of this, and that they had a seat at the table, that having city staff participate with our county staff to do this RFP. And the cities that were chosen were Palm Beach Gardens, West Palm Beach, Boca, Wellington, and the Glade, Belglade? I think it was Belglade, to try to get a good breakdown of the county. That staff worked together. They met on a weekly basis to do this. And again, we didn't see any of this. What the information was given, what we're asking for of having this overall transportation master plan, it's whoever gets this, that it's going to be to take our plans. Each city has, most cities have their own transportation and mobility plans. The school district's a part of this. The TPA is a part of this. Tri-Rail is a part of this. I mean, airport, all of it. And the port. We can't even name all of it, but our conversations have been general enough to say, here's a map of the county, fill it in with what everybody's doing, and then give us back something that's digestible. Because right now, cities aren't even talking to each other. And then FDOT goes and does a road, and we don't even know what's happening until, oh, it's closed, and our phones are ringing off the hook because what happened? Again, this is a way for us to move forward with all of these entities and give us something that's probably going to use AI. Technology has to be a part of this, and it's something that's evergreen, that's moving forward, so it lives. And then when we change our comp plan, our zoning, and one of the cities does the same thing, again, it gets updated so that we know that strip mall is going to become 500 units of housing versus what it is now. And that's next to one of our county roads, but it's within a city. Again, all of these things, that's going to be what we get. Writing the RFP and dotting the i's and crossing the t's and all of that's what we have staff to do. And we had, the cities that put a staff member in were the ones who specialize in doing this very work. It's nothing that I want to participate in other than the high-level discussions on here's what we need. But I know that it is important that what the RFP that goes out, it's clear enough to who gets it to understand you have a lot of stakeholders you're going to be meeting with and a lot of different plans that exist, and what we're asking in return, I mean, that's the basis of this. But again, getting an RFP, and it's probably, I don't know, how many pages? I don't even know, probably 90 pages. It's a lot of pages of information, very technical, so that when people are going to bid on this, they know what they're bidding on. It's nothing that, we ever see. We send out RFPs all the time, and we never see these. And I don't see why we should, because as soon as, if we get copies of it, and those copies go out into the world, we're going to have protests, if we can even issue it at that point. So we have to be super tight with this, and I feel that, we've chosen a good group to do this. We either trust the process or we don't at this point. And right now, I'm comfortable because our city managers had heated, very long meetings, and they don't all get along. So the fact that they came out of the room smiling and said, yes, go forward, was a big win, I think, for this whole process. So yes, we are putting our trust into staff, and we either do or we don't at this point, and we're asking all of our cities to do the same thing. And for me, I'm trusting the process at this point.
Thank you. Commissioner Sachs.
I'm going to wait to the end.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you for that, Madam Mayor. I guess my question is, in terms of, I've received the timeline and the scheduling, and I heard the concern and the question about if this was pushed back, or if there's, with regard to how the process is moving, what does that do to our time frame in terms of getting this transportation master plan completed? Because that's what one of the concerns is making sure that we complete the transportation master plan, and it is it serves the purpose that we are trying to accomplish. I guess that's for the administrator.
We're attempting to hire a contract consultant to come in, do a master plan. The RFP, the purpose of the RFP is written so that it is broad enough that it will allow whomever bids on it to come in, be able to go touch bases with our 39 municipalities, whether it's one-on-one or a group in central locations, et cetera. Also to talk to our business community, to talk to all of our stakeholders, including our civic groups. And then when we come up with a plan that we can all live with, then our board and others will make decisions on how do we fund this, you know, and then the decisions at that point will be made. But we're not addressing how to fund at this point. We're just trying to address the plan. And if we can come up with a plan that move people around our county, right now, we're stuck in traffic. If I leave home at my normal time, it takes me an hour almost to get downtown from Royal Palm. Traffic is horrendous. And development is building out much sooner than we ever anticipated. Most developments, as you well know, you usually do a 30-year time frame. They're building out in 10 and 15 years. So that background traffic that we didn't anticipate happening so fast is coming even faster. And so we have been, as managers, meeting with the small group and also the large groups. And one of the small groups, because we wanted to make sure we were listening to the small cities, the mid-sized cities, as well as the large cities. And we've gotten that input. Actually, Loxahatchee Grove manager, along with Westlake manager, was at a part of it, and they gave us their input as well. So we're listening to, we tried to listen to everybody's concern. The technical team worked on this. Actually, the managers really didn't change a whole lot that the experts had come up with. And that is how our RFPs are done in the county. The staff does it. We hear what you give us direction for. They're the experts on what do we need to do, what should be included, et cetera. We actually attended, a number of my administrative staff actually attended the event put on by the Economic Council a number of months ago about traffic and the different concerns and looking out into the future. You know, solutions on how to get people around a county as large as we are. We're larger than a number of states. We're very diverse. So our needs are very different in most of our cities. And so that consultant is going to take all of that along with the 2050 plan from TPA. They're going to take all that information and input, and then they're going to go away and they're going to not only address what we have on the ground today, but what are we going to look like in the future? And it's going to be a living document. That living document, the reason it's going to be living is because we changed our comp plan. We increased density and intensity. A lot of cities are redeveloping, and they're actually more dense and intense than they ever were. So that's the process that we are going through. We'll be talking to the board on the 10th and giving you some more detail, pretty much what's outlined overall, but we will not be sharing unless this board dictates that we share the RFP, and I don't recommend that if we're going to get through this process.
Good. Commissioner Sachs?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Commissioner Joel Flores, for bringing this up. From what I'm hearing is you're doing a good program. You're dealing with some of the cities. It's good. You're not dealing with all the cities. We have some cities, I didn't hear their name. And I think, pardon me, sir?
They're being dealt with. They're part of
Every city, Green Acres and Palm Springs? How about the county roads? I'm a county commissioner. I represent as many people as y'all represent. We all have the same number. But I have no cities. And I have probably a number, and I don't know if it's larger than any of the cities, deficient roads in the county. I'm a county person. So I don't want to upset the process, but I do want to make a point to have, because I trust Ms. Baker completely. I want Ms. Baker and those who are doing this and I see that we have the TPA and we have the cities on it, to give us more information. Because sunshine is beautiful, and that's what we operate under. We operate under sunshine. And we have the county attorney representative here, and I don't see, is there any reason why the county commissioners, especially myself, I represent 225,000 people who live in the county. And I don't know if I've ever been asked to participate in this along with the cities. Ms. County Attorney, is there anything that would prevent us from getting a little more information about this master plan before we are asked to fund it?
Okay, are you just referring to an overview as to the specifications in the RFP, or having?
I certainly don't want to get involved in the technicalities of an RFP with government, but I do want to have a seat at the table. I represent a number of folks who are not in the city. And how do we do it so that their opinions is represented?
If the board is making a final decision on the overall process, then you can't have a hand in the overall making a decision in the process as well, if you're making a determination on who's going to be winning.
Who's going to be winning?
I mean, who's actually going to be awarded the bid? That's going to be
No,
coming
I
in
don't think
front of.
that's up to us. I think that that's a process. Well, but I'd like to have a seat at the table because the 225,000 people in this county who live in the county and not under any city jurisdiction, how do we deal with them, Ms. Baker? How do we handle that?
I'll answer the question, and I'm going to cut the discussion off. I will answer.
Excuse me, Mayor. Ms. Baker was going to speak. Can she speak?
I am going to answer the question.
Oh, she's not going to, you're not allowed her to speak. Okay, go right ahead, Mayor.
And I'll be running this meeting, so I'm going to answer the question. First off, we have already approved the funding of this. That was something that Commissioner Weiss brought up many, many months ago. We have all had the opportunity to talk to our staff. Our staff represent our unincorporated areas and our incorporated areas because our roadway network runs throughout the county, whether it's a municipal area or an unincorporated area. We've discussed the RFP. Any of the board members here can talk to our staff. They can talk to members of our technical committee who have been part of the discussion. But as we sit here now and discuss, we do not need to postpone or delay this process as it's already taken this long. And there have been a lot of people and a lot of hours that have been spent trying to get us to the point where we are now. So with that, I'm going to complete the discussion on the transportation master plan. We all know it needs to be done. We are working towards that end goal. And once we have a transportation master plan, we'll figure out a way to fund it. That is our goal. That is why the transportation master plan was asked for in the first place, because we know we're deficient, and the roadways that are deficient run throughout the county, not just in unincorporated areas. So with that, Commissioner Flores, thank you for the question. It's been an active discussion. I don't think we need to continue it anymore.
Mayor, with all your respect, I completely disagree. This is the only time this body has an opportunity to speak. If you want to end it, I will respect that, but you can't take that from us, the opportunity to speak, because this is the only time we get to speak, which is the reason why I brought it up at this time, because it's the only time I get to speak with you, with the vice mayor, and the fellow commissioners. So I disagree with your decision, but I will respect it.
What questions haven't been answered for you?
I wanted to hear from the rest of my commissioners, and you're not allowing that.
Actually, I allowed plenty of that. And I'm not going to get into an argument with people. If anyone else would like to comment, please keep your comments brief. Put your lights on. Commissioner Baxter.
I just think I do agree with Commissioner Flores that just saying I'm cutting off conversations isn't appropriate, because this is, again, the only time we get to speak. And it was to a bigger process. It sounded like we had a few commissioners that were not in favor of what's currently taking place, but when all future comments have been cut off, it's kind of saying, I don't want to hear it anymore, we're done. I'm not in favor, I don't need to get into the nitty-gritty of an RFP, but if there is some form of outline or overview that could be provided, I don't need 90 pages. Something I think would be a good compromise to what we've all.
We've all been supplied the timeline, and we
shared that information last week. We had a summary for you, as well as 2 different timelines, one relating to events that have taken place, including the direction of the county administrator and board direction, and then another, the forward-looking piece, once a consultant's brought on board, the timeline, milestone dates going there. So it's a 3-page document. I can make sure I get it to you again, Commissioner. Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
We'll bring this again on the 10th to talk about it, but in the meantime, I will speak with each and every one of you that I have not personally spoke to.
And Patrick, please make sure to recirculate that email.
Will do, yes.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? Just whatever anybody would like to comment on, because we normally end meetings with commissioner comments. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. I did want to echo my condolences to the families of our fallen officers, and I wish everyone safe travels. If you're traveling for Thanksgiving, I will be, and to be safe on the roads or air travel, and hopefully, everyone has a good time off. I am very grateful to be a part of this board, and grateful for a lot of things in my life right now. So it's a good week to reflect on being thankful. So thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just would like to say the same condolences to the 3 officers who we lost in the traffic car crash. And as we prepare for Thanksgiving, let's make sure that we stay prayed up and are careful as we move between different areas. Thank you to the Tourism Development Council for presenting to us today. A lot of good information. Thankful. And that's it. See you all soon.
Thank you. Commissioner Sachs?
We have so much to be thankful for, and I echo what Commissioner Woodward said. I'm thankful for being part of this board. I'm thankful for a great staff under Ms. Baker. And we used to say as kids, good food, good Lord. Thanks for all we're good about to eat. And I am concerned about those who may not share the food that we're about to eat on Thanksgiving. My prayers and thoughts go out to the deputies, and to all those who serve for our safety. God bless those families at this time. And I look forward to a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving with my family, and I hope everybody with theirs as well. God bless.
Thank you. Commissioner Weiss, your light is not on. Would you like to?
Just share with my colleagues condolences to the fallen deputies and their families, and heartbreaks for them and the entire PBSO family. And then to our fellow residents, wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, and to keep in mind those that unfortunately don't have the resources or ability to celebrate, and that we keep them in our hearts.
Vice Mayor Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to echo the sentiments of my fellow commissioners. My heart breaks for the 3 fallen officers and their families, and what they're going through during holiday season, no less. It's tragic and heartbreaking. So I would like for everyone to please send out their thoughts and prayers to them and their family, help get them through this. I would also like to wish my children a happy birthday. Logan's birthday was on Sunday, and Liam's birthday is tomorrow. 3 years and 3 days apart. You'd think I planned that. I didn't. So I want to wish them a very happy birthday. Mom loves you. And lastly, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you all for being here today and our active discussion. And I would like to ask for the board's approval for a certificate of appreciation for a local agency called the McDavid Group. Their charity benefits an organization, a 40-year-old organization called COPS, which is the Concerns of Police Survivors, which is sort of apropos as we talk about what has happened in our community. So with the board's approval, I would like to do an off-site certificate to them next week at their event.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you very much. With that, we've had a lively day, lively discussion. Happy Thanksgiving. Please, everyone, be safe, and prayers to all.
Welcome to Inside PBC.